You've been watering, weeding, babying your garden every single weekend, and half of what you planted still looks like it gave up on life by July. What if I told you there are plants that actually do better when you leave them alone? No daily watering. No expensive fertilizers. No crossing your fingers every time the sun gets brutal. 11 of them. And May is the exact window you need to get them in the ground. Stick with me till the end, because number 7 is the one most gardeners completely overlook, and it might just be the toughest plant you've never thought to grow. Welcome back to Evergreen Gardens. So glad you're here. Whether this is your first time joining us or you've been growing with us for a while now, you are in the right place. This channel exists for one reason: to help you grow a beautiful garden without draining your wallet or your weekends. If that sounds like your kind of vibe, hit that subscribe button right now and tap the bell so you never miss what we put out. It's completely free, and it genuinely helps this little garden community grow. Alright. Gloves on. Let's get into it. Plant 1, Yarrow. Here's one that sounds fancy but is honestly one of the most forgiving plants you will ever put in the ground. Yarrow has been growing wild across fields and roadsides for centuries, and there's a reason it never disappears. It doesn't need you to remember to water it. It doesn't need rich soil. In fact, give it too much of either and it gets lazy and flops over. Plant it in May when the soil is warming up, give it a good drink to help it settle in, and then step back. By midsummer you'll have these flat, wide flower clusters in yellow, white, pink or red sitting on top of feathery green leaves. Butterflies love it. Bees love it. And deer tend to leave it completely alone. It spreads gradually over the years, which means your garden fills in without you spending another dollar. One plant becomes 3. 3 becomes a full section of color. That's the kind of math every garden owner should love. Plant 2, Black-Eyed Susan. If there's one plant that looks like it belongs in a professionally landscaped garden but costs almost nothing to grow, it's this one. Black-Eyed Susan has that perfect mix of beauty and toughness that makes people assume it must be difficult to maintain when in reality, it's one of the easiest flowers you can grow. Those golden yellow petals surrounding the deep dark center are impossible to ignore, and they create the kind of bright, cheerful display that instantly makes a garden look more polished. Even better, they bloom from midsummer well into fall, so when many other flowers begin to fade and lose their color, Black-Eyed Susan is still standing tall and stealing attention. Plant it in May and be patient during those first few weeks. Early on, most of its energy goes below the surface as it builds a strong root system underground. Above the soil it may seem like very little is happening, but that quiet start is exactly what sets it up for explosive growth later. Then by July, it suddenly bursts into bloom and looks like it has taken over the space overnight. What makes it even better is how forgiving it is. It handles summer heat without complaint, tolerates dry spells far better than many flowering plants, and asks for very little once established. And because it reseeds itself naturally, next spring you'll often find fresh new plants appearing around the original as if the garden expanded on its own. It's the kind of flower you plant once and keep enjoying year after year with almost no effort. Plant 3, Coneflower. Most people know echinacea as a supplement you take when you feel a cold coming on. But in the garden, it's something else entirely. Coneflower is one of those plants that earns its space in every possible way. The blooms are these beautiful daisy-shaped flowers in purple, pink or white with a raised spiky center that gives it that dramatic look. They start blooming in early summer and keep going for months. What makes it special for a low-maintenance garden is that once it's established, it handles drought without drama. It doesn't wilt and panic the moment the rain stops. It just keeps growing. And when the blooms fade and you leave the seed head standing, birds come in through late fall and winter to feed on them. So even in the off-season, this plant is doing something useful. Plant it in a sunny spot in May, water it consistently for the first few weeks, and from year 2 onwards it basically takes care of itself and even multiplies. Plant 4, Daylily. The name sounds delicate. The plant is anything but. Daylilies are some of the toughest perennials you can grow, and they come in more colors than you'd expect. Orange, yellow, red, peach, burgundy, even near purple. There's almost certainly a variety that fits whatever look you're going for. Each individual flower only lasts one day, hence the name, but each plant produces so many buds that the display keeps going for weeks. It's a relay race where every bloom hands off to the next one seamlessly. They grow in poor soil. They survive heat. They bounce back after drought. They're one of the few plants that can handle a little neglect from the very first season. Plant them in May in a spot that gets at least 6 hours of sun, give them room to spread, and watch them come back fuller and more impressive each year. Plant 5, Sedum. Also known as stonecrop, and that name alone hints at how tough this plant really is. Sedum stores water in its thick, succulent-like leaves, making it naturally built for dry conditions and neglect. Forget to water it for a week, 2 weeks, or even longer in some climates, and it keeps going without much complaint. That resilience is exactly why so many gardeners rely on it in low-maintenance landscapes. The late-season varieties, especially favorites like Autumn Joy Sedum, are even more impressive because they bring changing color throughout the growing season. They begin as neat green clusters in spring, transform into soft pink flower heads during summer, and then mature into deep copper-red tones by fall. It gives the impression of multiple plants in one because the appearance keeps evolving without any extra work from you. Sedum is also remarkably tolerant of poor conditions that frustrate many other plants. Rocky ground, sandy soil, hot sunny corners, and neglected beds where other flowers struggle are often exactly where it thrives. If you have an area in your garden where nothing else seems happy, this is one of the first plants worth trying. Plant 6, Salvia. Salvia is one of those plants that pollinators absolutely cannot resist, and once you see hummingbirds and bumblebees moving through those tall purple spikes, you'll understand why gardeners keep coming back to it. It blooms in late spring and early summer, and if you cut it back lightly after the first flush of flowers, it pushes out a second wave later in the season. 2 rounds of bloom from one plant with very minimal effort in between. It handles heat and dry conditions well, prefers well-drained soil, and tends to be naturally resistant to deer and rabbits, which is a quiet bonus if those are regular visitors in your yard. Planted in May, it'll establish quickly and reward you with color right when you want it most. Real quick, if you're finding this helpful and you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time to do that. We put out content specifically designed to help gardeners like you spend less and grow more. And drop a comment below. Tell me which plant so far surprised you the most, or let me know what's already growing in your garden this May. I read every single comment and I genuinely love hearing from this community. Okay, back to the list. We're halfway through and the second half has some real surprises. Plant 7, Russian Sage. This is the one I mentioned at the beginning. The one most gardeners overlook completely, and honestly it might be the most underrated perennial on this entire list. Russian sage produces these long, airy wands of tiny lavender blue flowers that create this soft, almost hazy look in the garden. It doesn't look like much in the pot at the nursery, which is exactly why people walk past it. But give it a full season in the ground and it transforms into something that looks deliberately designed. It thrives in heat. It laughs at the drought. It grows in poor, dry soil where other plants would give up entirely. Deer don't touch it. Rabbits don't touch it. The silvery stems stay attractive even in winter when everything else has died back. Plant it somewhere it gets full sun and just let it do what it does. By midsummer you'll have people asking what that beautiful blue plant is. Plant 8, Catmint. If you've ever wanted that soft, romantic, slightly wild garden look without spending hours maintaining it, catmint is one of the easiest ways to achieve it. It has that relaxed cottage garden feel people love, but without the constant upkeep many flowering plants demand. It grows in neat, mounding clumps that spill gently outward, covered in masses of small lavender blue flowers from late spring well into summer. The silvery green foliage adds texture even when it's not blooming, and the entire plant gives off a light herbal fragrance that pollinators absolutely love while deer usually leave it alone. And here is one of its best features. Just like salvia, if you shear it back after that first big flush of blooms, it quickly regrows and rewards you with a second wave of flowers later in the season. That means you get extended color and far more value from a single inexpensive plant. Once established, catmint is impressively drought tolerant, thrives in heat, and asks for very little attention. It spreads in a soft, controlled way that helps fill empty spaces in garden beds beautifully, creating that lush layered look without becoming invasive or overwhelming nearby plants. Plant 9, Coreopsis. The cheerful one. That's the best way I can describe Coreopsis. These bright daisy-like flowers in yellow, orange and sometimes bicolor combinations bloom for an incredibly long stretch, often from late spring all the way through early fall. That's months of continuous color from a single plant. It's one of the most heat-tolerant perennials available and one of the most drought-resistant once its roots are established. It actually blooms more in hot, sunny conditions rather than sulking the way some plants do when temperatures climb. Planted in May in full sun, keep up with watering through the first season while it gets comfortable, and from year 2 it becomes practically self-sufficient. Deadhead blooms occasionally to keep production going, and that's genuinely all the attention it needs. Plant 10, Lavender. Yes, lavender belongs on this list. Not because it's trendy but because it genuinely earns its place in any low-maintenance garden. Once established, lavender is one of the most drought-tolerant plants you can grow. It prefers lean, well-drained soil and actually struggles in rich, overly moist conditions. Which means if you have a dry, sunny slope or a spot where drainage is an issue, lavender will thrive there when almost nothing else will. The blooms are calming to look at, incredible to smell, and attract pollinators in numbers that benefit everything else growing nearby. The silvery foliage stays attractive even when it's not in bloom. Plant it in May in the sunniest spot you have, make sure the drainage is good, and give it room to breathe. It'll reward you with years of low-effort beauty and your garden will smell extraordinary all summer long. Plant 11, Liatris. We're closing out the list with one that stops people in their tracks. Liatris looks like something you'd find in a florist shop, not growing wild in your backyard. It sends up these tall, dramatic spikes covered in fluffy purple or white flowers that bloom from the top down, which is unusual and makes it visually interesting in a way that most perennials simply aren't. It grows from a corm, which is similar to a bulb, and once it's in the ground it's incredibly tough. It handles poor soil, tolerates drought, and doesn't need dividing or fussing over for years at a time. Monarchs and other butterflies are deeply attracted to it. If you want to support pollinators while also adding a plant that genuinely turns heads, Liatris does both at the same time. Plant it in May in full sun, water it through the establishment, and prepare to answer questions from every neighbor who walks past your garden. 11 plants. All tough. All beautiful. All planted in May for a summer that practically takes care of itself. Here's the part one want you to hold on to: a low-maintenance garden doesn't mean a boring garden. It means a smart one. It means you chose plants that work with the season instead of fighting it. And it means come August when everyone else is stressed about their wilting beds, you're just out there enjoying what you built. Pick 2 or 3 from this list to start with. You don't have to do all 11 at once. Get them in the ground this month while the conditions are right and let them show you what they can do. If this video helped you out today, give it a thumbs up. It genuinely helps more gardeners find this content, and that's what this channel is all about. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're constantly putting out practical, honest gardening content that won't waste your time or your money. And leave me a comment. Which one of these 11 are you planting first? I want to know. I'll be down in the comments reading every reply. Until next time, keep growing smart. I'll see you in the next one.